the program organized by the university students as far as making people to follow the learning. That's why we would like to give a special follow to hear the program. I will just quickly turn the mic to the chair of the secretary.
Thank you very much, Chairman. The reading today's program, practitioner for Alhamdulillah, number one in our but also that is to react to we welcome the speaker, Senator with one of our self-released women that we have a great respect for. They want to hear that question. So we start the program by recitation of the Lord by Brother Ahmad Kamara. So we'll start the program by recitation of the Lord. Sheikh Billal was born in Jamaica. He grew up in Toronto, Canada, where he did his education up to 1972 when he became a Muslim. He converted to Islam in 1972. And then he took on a course of trying to change Islam through Islamic education, Muslim education. He went on to study in Riyadh, he went on to study in Medina, Islamic University of Medina. He teaches in the University of Wales. That he wrote his PhD thesis on a very exhaustive topic in Aqidah, is exhausting in Islam. Then Sheikh Billal went on to do a lot of work after work in Islam. In Riyadh itself, he started teaching in Riyadh, in the Muslims' school there in the English version. He later went on from there to establish where he's presently now in UAE, United Arab Emirates. Sheikh Billal has wrote a lot of materials, over 50 publications, some of which are very, very, very useful. I myself had the opportunity of reading some of his books like Fundamentals of Tawheed and the Evolution of Faith and the Class of Civilization and many other books. Indeed, he has more than 56 books, like I said earlier. And he has done a lot of presentations around the world in Islam, in Islamic education, from the UK to Canada to the United States to Australia and Gambia as well. So we are very much privileged to have him here with us and to deliver on this topic, which is a very, very important topic, especially to these, most of the guys here who are medical students by background, but by extension to all practitioners in general. But the true practitioner, be it a medical or otherwise, should be a Muslim first before he becomes a practitioner. So we now, without wasting a lot of time, because we have lost some time, we will pass over the mic to the Sheikh for him to begin his lecture on the topic of true medical practitioner.
Topic: the true Muslim medical practitioner begins to be a Muslim. One who happens to be a Muslim could have been a Buddhist, a communist, a Christian, could have been anything. So the issue is not about faith, what he or she believes. It's about the profession. So what we're talking about is, are we Muslims first, or are we professionals first? And this has its own roots in the beginnings of our studies. Here as students in this college, we have to decide who we are. Are we, in fact, Muslim students? Or are we only students who happen to be Muslims? Because this is where it begins. If we haven't grasped the difference between the two, it means once we graduate and become professionals, we will not be able to make that distinction. How important is that distinction? Well, for a Muslim, the distinction is between heaven and hell. It is that important. It is not something that we can afford to treat lightly, saying that I will deal with that when I get older. Right now, I just want to earn my money and enjoy life, because how many people die before getting older? we have no guarantee of our future. So what we're talking about is now. We have to decide for ourselves right now, because we cannot walk out of this door and be certain that we will even make it home. We might walk out as if we are certain, but the reality is that we're not certain. People are dying all around us. There's no guarantee that we will make it home alive today. No guarantee. So knowing that, we have to make this decision as to what type of student we are now. Are we students who happen to be Muslims, or are we Muslims who happen to be students? The distinction fundamentally between the student who happens to be Muslim and students all around the world is none. There is no difference between the student who happens to be a Muslim and students all around the world. Students all around the world are focused on what? Passing. Passing examinations successfully, so that we will be able to graduate, enter into our professions, and make good money. So the goal, the very purpose of our study is all about money. That is the driving force for students all around the world. So because of that, then students will do anything to pass. They will do anything in order to ensure that they will pass. As Machiavelli taught the prince, by any means necessary. Because that end result that you're seeking is good for you, then whatever you do to achieve it is also good. This is a way of thinking which is in fact an evil way. It is the materialist way. One who doesn't believe in God's way. Because of that, the most common characteristic of students all around the world is that they are experts at cheating. They are cheating experts. They write books on cheating. They compare notes about cheating. Cheating is a common feature in the life of students. Because that is the way that people see to ensure that we're going to get the results that we're seeking. We want to make sure we're going to pass, etc. Then, if we can do it by cheating, then we're ready to do it. This is the normal characteristic of students all around the world. And that's why it is not very surprising to see in the newspaper a few years back, I read about an incident which took place in Bangladesh. Bangladesh is like Gambia, 90-odd% Muslim. They had made some changes in the examination procedures in order to prevent or to minimize cheating. And students all across the country rioted. Muslims rioted for the right to cheat. Amazing. How? Because they were not Muslims first. They were students. And students want to pass. And cheating is one of the most popular ways to ensure that you will pass. You will cheat, you will lie, you will take other people's notes, you will steal, you will make up stories to your professor when you didn't turn in your paper on time, no problem. You will lie very easily, without any effort at all. So, reality, what we are supposed to be, is Muslims first. So cheating is something which is removed from our practice, from our way of thinking, etc. It's not a part of our way of thought. Because Prophet Muhammad ﷺ had said, "Man ghashana falaysa minna." Whoever cheats us is not of us. Not a true Muslim. One who cheats is not a true Muslim. It's not the characteristic of a true Muslim. So because of that, one of the fundamental characteristics of the Muslim student is that he or she is honest, is trustworthy. They follow the way of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who was known as Al-Amin. Even before he received revelation, he was Al-Amin, the trustworthy, the honest, the truthful. That was one of his fundamental characteristics. And if we are true Muslims, then that has to be one of our fundamental characteristics. Because Allah told us very clearly in the Quran, لَقَدْ كَانَ لَكُمْ فِي رَسُولِ اللَّهِ أُسْوَةٌ حَسَنَةٌ. There is in the Messenger of Allah for you the best of examples. So, having said that, understanding that the Muslim student has a different perspective, a different way of looking at life, that Muslim student understands first and foremost that his or her course of study is a mode or a method of ibadah, of worship. They worship Allah when they study. They know that worshiping Allah requires that they be conscious of Allah, that they have taqwa. Similarly, as students, when a Muslim student studies, he or she studies with taqwa. They study believing that study is a way of worshipping Allah. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam had said, "Talabul ilmi farida ala kulli Muslim." Seeking knowledge is a religious obligation on every Muslim. It is Islam. Seeking knowledge is a fundamental aspect of Islam. So, he or she who seeks knowledge does so knowing that it is fulfilling a faridah, a religious obligation which brings one closer to Allah, puts one on the path to paradise. The path seeking knowledge is a path to paradise. And that is why Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Man salaka tariqan yaltamisu fihi ilman, sahhala Allahu lahu tariqan ila al-jannah." Whoever takes a path in which he or she seeks knowledge, Allah makes the path to paradise easy for them. So this issue of being a student is something very vital, very important, very serious. It's not a joke. You have to realize as Muslim students that you are here because Allah chose you to be here. Allah chose you to be here because there are so many other people in this society who would love to be here, who would love to have the opportunity to study in this school of nursing. But are they here? No. So why are you here and they are not? Is it because you are smarter than them? No. There are many out there who have no chance, who are smarter than you. So for sure, it is not about who was the smartest. You didn't decide which family you are going to be born in. It was not your decision. This was Allah's decision. So know that you are here in this position, in this situation right now, having access to this knowledge which would make you a health professional by the destiny of Allah. Qadarullah. That's why you're here. Qadarullah. Allah chose you to be here. And of course, those who have been given, the more they are given, the more they are held responsible for. Means that you have a responsibility that others who have not been given this opportunity don't have. They have other responsibilities, but you have this responsibility. This responsibility of seeking this knowledge with taqwa, for the sake of Allah, out of fear of Allah. Not just seeking this knowledge because we want the best paying job. This is the wrong reason. We should be seeking this knowledge because we believe it is beneficial to our society. It is something which would be pleasing to Allah. When we practice this profession, we will be serving humanity, serving the Gambian community, and this is what is pleasing to Allah. Because the Prophet ﷺ had said, خَيْرُ النَّاسِ أَنْفَعُهُمْ لِلنَّاسِ. The best of people are those most beneficial to people. It is about the benefit. So this profession that we seek should be on that basis. It will be a way for us to serve Allah throughout our lives. So, having understood the need for taqwa, and of course you all remember that the very beginning of the Quran, Surah Al-Baqarah, after Surah Al-Fatiha, Allah said there what? Alif Lam Mim, ذَلِكَ الْكِتَابُ لَا رَيْبَ فِيهِ هُدًى لِلْمُتَّقِينَ. Alif Lam Mim, this is the book in which there is no doubt. Guidance for those with taqwa. For those who fear Allah, who are conscious of Allah. Those are the ones who are guided by the Quran. Because if there is no taqwa, then there is no guidance. Yes, you might have memorized the whole Quran, but if there's no taqwa, there is no guidance. Non-Muslims may read the whole Quran and say this is confusing. What kind of book is this? No guidance. No taqwa. If they feared Allah, if they are sincere to Allah, they will see it. It will be clear to them. So, taqwa is the beginning of our faith. Beginning of our being students, beginning of our being professionals, health professionals. In the course of our study, as we take our various subjects, we have to understand that the knowledge which we are being exposed to, that we're being taught, this knowledge has to be assessed from the Islamic perspective. We have to assess it from the Islamic perspective. And this is very important because nursing as it is taught, the health profession as it is taught, is currently a product of Western thought. Western civilization's perspective. Western culture's views, customs, traditions. Just for example, in the health profession, because of the fact that early medicine in the West was based on alcohol. If you see the early medical practitioners back in the 1800s, the 1700s, 1600s, they would give the patient enough alcohol to get him intoxicated. He no longer felt any more pain, no more problems, no more worries. Maybe they would give him a herb or two along with it. But mostly, the medicine was alcohol. Now, though Muslims are the ones who gave alcohol its name, al-quhul. It's an Arabic term, alcohol, al-quhul. It is an Arabic name given by Muslim scientists in Spain. And all of your chemicals and other substances that have al before it, no, that's Arabic. So, though Muslims were the ones who identified what alcohol was, they knew it was haram and they didn't make their medicines with it. So the Islamic way was to treat illnesses directly, not to intoxicate people. It's a whole different approach. Today, for example, there was a few years back, if you wanted mouthwash, you could only find mouthwash with alcohol, a high percentage of alcohol. Today, after the Islamic awakening, the rest of the world has become conscious that Muslims are not buying mouthwash because it has alcohol. They produce mouthwash without alcohol. Business. When we were nothing, we didn't have any impact, then they sold it to us with alcohol. When we became conscious and said, no, we can't drink this, then they said, we don't want to lose these customers. Let's develop it another way. And sure enough, they came up with mouthwash without alcohol. Cough syrup, isn't it? Same thing. Cough syrup. In the past, you couldn't get cough syrup without alcohol in it. Codeine, intoxicants. Today, you can. Why? Because of the impact of the Islamic awakening. As Muslims become more conscious, then society, especially Western society, who have financial considerations as foremost, they will make the adjustments. But the bottom line is that as a Muslim, when we approach this knowledge, we have to be conscious that it is coming from a source which is not pure. It is coming from a corrupted source. Western civilization is corrupted. But it doesn't mean that everything coming from it is no good. Doesn't mean that. I'm not saying that. But know that fundamentally it is corrupted. So when you're studying your various courses, etc., you must be conscious. As a Muslim, you have and practice what they call critical thinking. I'm sure you've heard this before. Critical thinking. Meaning what? Meaning you're not just sitting there with your mouth open, waiting for the teacher to pour it in your mouth, spoon. They say spoon feed you. This is not the way. You hear information, you weigh that information, you assess it, you look at it in the light of Islamic teachings, etc., and then what is good, beneficial, useful, you take. What is not, you put aside. So as you approach your study, you do have to make a distinction between false knowledge and true knowledge. False knowledge and true knowledge. True knowledge comes from Allah. False knowledge comes from Shaitan, Satan. But if it's not coming from Allah, then no, it's coming from Satan. False knowledge. So, for example, false knowledge, example of false knowledge is evolutionary theory. Everybody knows this. The theory of evolution, this is pure false knowledge. It's not to say that it doesn't contain facts which are true. There are facts which are true. There are bones. There are chemicals. There are research in anthropology based on factual discoveries, etc. This exists, it's true. But how you interpret that information is where comes the false knowledge. Because if you don't believe in God, then you are going to find a way of explaining how we got here without God. That's the bottom line. So, what happens to the people who don't believe in God? That's what they say. For them, God is replaced by good luck. That becomes the driving force in their lives. Good luck and bad luck. Why you have it? Good luck. Why don't? Bad luck. Everything is either good luck or bad luck. Why you had that accident? Bad luck. Why you passed the exam? Good luck. Why everything? Good luck, bad luck. So, in their lives, good luck and bad luck is controlling everything. That becomes their new God. But actually it's an old God. Because the term luck is another term for fortune. They also say that. My good fortune, my bad fortune, misfortune. Unfortunate. Fortune actually is from the Greek term Fortuna. Fortuna was the goddess of good luck and bad luck. So that's the root. Good luck and bad luck based in idolatry. That is the root of it. However, anyway, brother, please, just stop. Anyway, the point is that those people who have denied God's existence, they have to explain our presence here by way of good luck. Because it's good that we're here. I'm not going to say bad luck. So it's got to be good luck. It's our good luck that we're here. So how did that happen? Well, you know, after the Big Bang and the Earth was created and, you know, the chemicals on the Earth, you know, bounced around and the rains and the electrical sparks there and things, and, you know, then some amino acids were formed. And from these amino acids, they went this way and that way, and then they formed some DNA. After forming the protein, DNA was formed. And then from the DNA, and they're floating around, some of them got together and they made the nucleus of a cell. So you had a cell nucleus, DNA, RNA, and then eventually some of them decided we need to have a wall around this. So they made a cell wall. Right? So we know this is a story. We know this is a big story. It cannot be replicated. They have tried. For almost a century, they have tried to create life. When they're not able to create life, what do? They like to use these big terms. I remember when I was growing up, it was called the test tube baby. It came in the newspaper. They made a test tube baby. Wow, test tube baby. No, of course, I was going to university, out to classes at that time, high school, whatever. You know, in science class, you have a test tube. You know, you mix the chemicals in there, you put the Bunsen burner, you add it, and you pour something, comes out something else, right? I said, wow, they made a baby in a test tube. Allahu Akbar. But when we read deeper, we found out they didn't make any baby in any test tube. There was no baby made in any test tube. It's a big lie. All they did was they got, you know, a sperm, they got an ovum, they put them together in a petri dish, mix it up, okay, fertilize, and they start to grow, and then they put it back in the woman. So, in vitro fertilization, that's the proper name for it, they call it. But in the popular press, it was test tube baby. So they have been obsessed with this idea. But Allah said if they all got together they wouldn't even be able to make a fly. That's what Allah said. If all human beings got together with all of the knowledge they had till the last day of this world, they will never be able to make a fly. And why did Allah choose a fly? Because it's something we consider so nasty, so useless. You know, why flies? Some people even ask, why did Allah create flies? Something so useless, we beat them, smash them, we have fly swatters, we have everything. So this thing which is so simple, they can't make it. That's reality. So it means then that those companies, you have companies that are spending millions of dollars and hiring professionals from the field of health and medicine in order to do what? To create life. Don't go there. That's false knowledge. Or to prevent death. You have companies spending millions of dollars every year to prevent death. They believe that death, you know, it's like you have a clock inside of your body, inside of the cells, right? So they say if we can stop that clock, we can live forever. So they're busy on trying to stop the clock. Will they ever stop the clock? Never. Prophet Muhammad had said, for every disease which Allah created, He also created a cure. Except death. There's no cure. No way of stopping it. But people research this. They spend time and energy. This is false knowledge. For a Muslim, he or she should never be engaged in those areas. Now, after realizing and excusing ourselves from false knowledge, then we have to look at the next level of knowledge in the general category of true knowledge and decide where we should be. This next level is between useful and useless knowledge. There is true knowledge, it's real, but it's useless. And we have to be able to know when useless knowledge comes up to avoid it. Prophet Muhammad ﷺ used to make dua regularly, saying what? Allahumma inni a'udhu bika min ilmin la yanfa'. Oh Allah, I seek refuge in you from knowledge which is of no benefit. Now, Western thought, they promote the idea of knowledge for the sake of knowledge. When I went to university, I was a biochemistry major in Simon Fraser University in Western Canada. We were taught that. Knowledge for the sake of knowledge. Research it, study it, just to be able to know it. But this is not the Islamic way. Because as we said, the Prophet ﷺ said, خَيْرُ النَّاسِ أَنْفَعُهُمْ لِلنَّاسِ. The best of people are those most beneficial to people. So therefore, for us, seeking knowledge is for its benefit. If there's benefit in it, it's worth seeking. If there's no benefit in it, it's not worth seeking. You know, right now, there is huge research going on in Europe. It's called CERN, C-E-R-N. Have you heard about that? The CERN research? Huh? CERN, what they're doing is with CERN, right? What they've done, they have dug into mountains, tunnel. They've made a circular tunnel in which they have put machinery. And in that machinery, they will shoot particles of matter into other particles of matter. This thing cost multi-billions of dollars. The whole European countries, along with America, have put in multi-billions of dollars in order to produce this cyclotron, is what they call it, which smashes bits of matter into other bits of matter, in order to find what they call the Higgs boson principle, particle, or the other name that they give it, the God particle. Yeah. They're searching for the God particle. Because every time they find something, when they figured out back in the turn of the previous century that the smallest element of things were atoms, then they went digging further and they found that the atoms weren't the smallest. Actually, the atoms are made up of neutrons and electrons, protons, whatever. Then after that they said, okay, that's it. The smallest thing is like the electron. Then later on they found, no, the electron is made up of other things. Quarks and other weird names came up. And every time they find one, they find, and they think it's the last one, they're looking for one after that. So they're searching now for the ultimate one. And it's always been the ultimate one. And they give it the ultimate name, the God particle. The thing from which everything else was made. They made up everything. And if you go Google it, you'll see them when they're analyzed, they say, there is no benefit from this knowledge that we can see right now. But we believe that ultimately there will be spin-offs, etc., and there will be, but they admit right at the beginning, there's no benefit. It's only about trying to find the most basic building block of life, of the universe. To do what? To be able to create the fly. Billions and billions, and they will not be able to create that fly. Similarly, America, for example, a few years back, they spent $4 billion sending a rocket ship to Mars. Landed on Mars, rovers came out, these little car-like things, and they drove around Mars, and they dug up the Earth on Mars. They analyzed that Earth, sent back the data back to the Earth. They're looking for life, they said. Trying to see if there's life there, or if there ever was life there. But basically, they're analyzing the dirt on Mars. $4 billion. From 1990 in America, in the United States of America, some people call it the United Snakes of America, but in the United States of America, from 1990, there were more than 4 million Americans who had no homes. Homeless. Out in the streets. Living in the streets. Yes, I know you saw the pictures of New York City and Chicago and Washington. You saw these big tall skyscrapers and but they didn't show you what's at the bottom of the skyscraper at night. When the lights go out and all the poor people who have no place to go, they put down a piece of cardboard and they're sleeping on the street. When the winter comes, it catches them suddenly, so many of them are frozen to death, dead. That's America. So we have to say, you're going to spend $4 billion to find out the composition of dirt on Mars, and you have 4 million citizens who are sleeping in the streets. Is it worth finding out about the dirt on Mars? No. It's knowledge. It's real knowledge. It's true knowledge. But it's useless. So we have a different perspective. We will say, no, human beings are worth more. Use that 4 billion to help the 4 million. It's a different approach. It's a whole different approach. Then, having understood the difference between the two, chosen the useful knowledge, then we have to, as professionals, choose what we call appropriate knowledge. As health professionals, we have to choose appropriate knowledge for ourselves. So, for example, if one of you decided you wanted to become a doctor, this is what you are striving for, to become a doctor. Now, medicine has many fields. One of the fields is gynecology. For you as a man to say, I am going to be a gynecologist, that is not appropriate. That is not appropriate. I'm sure I don't have to explain to you why. This is very clear, very obvious. It's not to say that studying medicine means you're going to study gynecology also. So in case of emergencies, you can help. You can do what is necessary. But to say that is my specialization as a man, no. So those of you that have it in your mind can't sit down right now. Similarly, for a woman who wants to go into medicine also, for her to specialize in prostate cancer, this is not appropriate. It's true knowledge, it's beneficial knowledge, but it's not appropriate knowledge. Leave that to the men. Those of you that don't understand what prostate cancer is, when you go home, make a Google and find out, and you'll get the details. But the point is that we have to choose areas which are beneficial to the society, which are appropriate for us to practice. And then, when we graduate and we are applying that knowledge, we have to apply that knowledge in an appropriate way. We have to be conscious. We have to think, I'm Muslim. Is this appropriate for a Muslim? Or is it not? So we have considerations which the student who happens to be a Muslim would not have. So this is the point. When we go through our study and we enter into the professional world with that level of consciousness, then we are in ibadah. We are in a blessed circumstance, which the Prophet ﷺ praised. He said, "Ad-dunya mal'una." This world is cursed. Mal'unun ma fiha, and everything in it is cursed. Cursed for those who become addicted to it. Addicted to the things of this world, it is a curse. Illa dhikrullah, except for the remembrance of Allah.